early, baby. Set it early. 180.
Listening to all Chiefed Up, the best damn Kansas City Chiefs podcast in the kingdom.
Butker is out on kickoff duty, Steve. Justin Reid might take over. That's what Dave Toub said today. Let's talk about it.
Before we get the show started, appreciate you being here. We're all chiefed up. We're back with another podcast for that ass, baby. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Mike, I read about this just a little bit. I was a little busy today at work, but I got to read this part. And Dave Toub said, you know what? 35 to 40% of kickers on this rule in the UFL or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The XFL, sorry. They got involved in contact. So do we want Butker getting hit?
You're right. Chiefs Wire, everybody reported it today. Toub hints at DB Justin Reid being utilized for kickoff duty, Steve. This goes into what you said. He said, I'd like to have someone who can go back and make a tackle. Butker's able to make a tackle, but I really don't want him making tackles all year long, said Toub, creating a theory that Justin Reid could be handling more kickoff duties. He says, if you watch the XFL and watch every play, I bet kickers were involved in 25 to 40% of the tackles, said Toub. Trying to make a guy bounce back, make the tackle itself, or just missing a tackle, we don't want Butker in any of those situations. Then he goes on to say he will be a kicker. He will be a guy we will use in certain situations, Toub explained. Justin can cover, he can kick, he can go down there and make tackles. He's an extra guy they're probably not accounting for. They know that guy can come down and tackle. Steve, it sounds like the Chiefs are still thinking outside the box, and this could be with this new kickoff rule, this could be some experimentation that other teams do not have the luxury of. They don't have a guy. Well, it's possible. A lot of these guys do have, soccer backgrounds and things like that. But this is something we do know that Justin Reid can do. So why not just at least do it in the off season anyway? It prevents injury, prevents things like that. Plus, it gives an extra guy on the coverage team. Like he said, you don't really want Harrison Butker taking cheap shots and stuff, like people taking cheap shots on our kicker, especially when we need somebody to come in and kick, field goals for ties or leads at the end of the game. You don't want them getting hurt on plays like this.
Absolutely, man. So the kickoff rule is weird, right? So it's going to be a lot different. It's going to take a lot of getting used to. But you have to think about it. Guys are not coming with as much momentum. I think blocking is going to be more integral and more strategic. I think guys are going to be returning the ball. Probably more running backs. People that have really good field vision can see those holes in the blocking. So, I mean, I think it's pretty smart since Justin Reid can do that. It makes total sense to have another guy in the field that can stop somebody, hit somebody, and we don't have to worry about injury. And then when the game's on the line, Butker's fresh and ready to go.
Right. Get you a little horned up to know you got Justin Reid back there
going
to lay some wood. Going to lay some wood himself. Going to start calling him Blue Chew Reid out here. He also went on to say this, Dave Toub, on the new kickoff rule. The team that figures this out, this new kickoff rule, will excel early, and we want to be that team. This goes almost back to where the 49ers didn't even know the rules in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are always getting the upper hand there.
Right, because they read the rules. No, but I think it's very, very smart for him to be digging into this early, right? And a lot of people are pretty horned up about Louis Rees-Zammit because they think that he can be the role of the kick returner. Yeah. And he has that field vision. He has that speed. I kind of like it too. We'll see where that goes. But I think on both sides of the ball, teams really have to put some focus onto this because I think it could make a difference in games this year. You might see more kickoffs returned and better field position and things like that. So I think it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah. Zammit, Bobby.
What in the hell? What in the hell?
That's the way we got to go.
What in the hell? What in the hell?
That's the greatest.
So you have to hit me with 6 of them.
I had to hit you with a bunch of them. Make sure you understood the point we're making. Toub also wanted to talk about the punters. Both of these guys are NFL punters, he says, Matt Ariza and Ryan Ricow. It's a battle, and they both do things well. Toub, it sounds like to me, Toub is very he was exhilarated today. I feel like special teams are starting to come back a little bit, and he even made the comment that special teams has kind of been taken out of the game. So he feels a little rejuvenated. But Toub, he's feeling good. We also had Spags on the mic today. And boy, Spags is a special guy, by the way. They asked him about the slot corner battle. And here's what he had to say. He said they got Chamari. Chamari has been in there right now. Nick Jones did some. We got some young guys in there as well. Trent could always certainly slide back in. We haven't put Justin Reid in there, but I'm sure in a pinch he could do it. It's good to have versatile guys like that. That's what he said to that. So Justin Reid now going from kickoff to slot, going to also come up in the box and play a little bit of safety. Justin, he may play some quarterback before it's all over with.
Might as well. He can just do it all. But no, Mike, this is something we talked about too when we were talking about how this roster is going to shape up and who's going to make the team and who's going to do what.
Yeah.
We actually considered that Chamari Connor could come up and play that slot corner. We knew that was a possibility. So I believe that you will see a lot of it. And the fact that they're already doing it right now this early at OTAs, I think that's definitely something they're going to be looking at. So it does muddy up things a little bit in the cornerback room because we already have a boatload of cornerbacks that can play, right?
Yeah.
And we got Kamal Haddon coming in as a rookie trying to make the squad, which they spent, a 5th, 6th round pick on him. I think there's just a lot of different possibilities that could happen. Najee Johnson coming back off an injury and things like that. But if you look at the safety position, we know that Deion Bush was kind of on the outside looking in. If they decide to go with Chamari Connor as a corner, maybe he makes that 4th spot as a safety. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. To me, I'd leave Connor as a safety, take the 6th cornerback, and still slide him in there if you need to.
Right. You spoke about Kamal Haddon. Spags spoke about him. He said he's not afraid to be loud. He said, I like those guys. He made a couple mistakes today. He also said he made a couple mistakes earlier in the year, as to be expected.
Right.
But I think he has some self-confidence about him, which you need at that position. We'll see where he is in terms of talent, and if he's good enough to play, we're going to find that out in training camp. So he didn't say anything bad about Kamal Haddon. He actually had a lot of good things to say. He didn't just overwhelmingly say, hey, look, he's come in and set the world on fire here. They also asked him
OTAs,
Right. So they also asked him about Kelvin Joseph, and he had this to say. He said he's kind of a quiet guy. So Kamal Haddon's loud. Kelvin Joseph's a little quiet. He said he's played with the first group, and he's made some plays. He's got a long ways to go, but there's hope there. That's what he had to say about Kelvin Joseph. Steve, they're calling this pass camp. This should be a time when you don't have running backs and you don't have running formations and you're not doing that, and there's hardly any threat of running. This should be a time where the DBs should be able to get out there and compete, knowing that the ball's coming at them, it's in the air, it's there. You don't have nothing else to worry about. This is where these corners have to come out and show their ball skills. So we've seen that out of Joseph. It looks like we've seen that out of Haddon for a few times.
I thought you were going to say they had to come out and show their balls for a second. I was like, whoa.
No, let's not do that. Let's not get them horned up like that so far. But it sounds like a lot of the corners are stepping up. This is a deep cornerback room.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. And like you mentioned, they ought to be able to show out a little bit right now. Kelvin Joseph's been doing that. You've heard talk of that during OTAs. I think Kamal Haddon, I like the attitude. I'm with Spags. I think with cornerbacks, you have to have confident guys, loud guys. They're always big mouths, man. I mean, look back at Marcus Peters. Just for some reason, that position, those guys are very cocky and they're very loud, and that's cool. For some reason, it correlates with good cornerback play. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's getting in your opponent's head or what it is, but I like the fact that he's already coming out confident, Mike. I think Kamal Haddon has a good shot at making the squad, even though it's a pretty stacked up room.
Right, and of course we lost L'Jarius Sneed. They actually asked Dave Merritt. Dave Merritt took the mic today, and by the way, out of everybody that spoke, Dave Merritt's was maybe my favorite presser of all of them. I love his attitude. I love his approach. He's just a good dude. They asked him about L'Jarius Sneed. He said Chiefs defensive back coach Dave Merritt on L'Jarius Sneed's era. He said it's almost like trying to replace Michael Jordan. He said he didn't want to call him the Michael Jordan of corners, like the GOAT, but he said like it's almost like doing that because he can do everything so well. And you have to do that, and it's hard. Like, how would the Bulls replace Jordan if he left the roster? He's trying to say that here. So they asked him a little bit. They were like, look, Spags was asked about Kelvin Joseph. Dave Merritt answered some questions about Kelvin Joseph. He said he's just like a rookie. He said he's swimming like the other guys. It's so much because we open up our entire playbook. Hopefully he can step up and accomplish what we need him to accomplish. He also went on to say that, look, if he's getting a lot of stuff thrown at him. He said if he can learn this system, he can probably play in 95% of the other defenses in the league. So it sounds like they're all in on Kelvin Joseph. They're all in on the young guys. but I feel like there's still a big learning curve there. And this is what we've kind of said from the beginning. You got your Najee Johnsons, who's kind of got a leg up here. I mean, he injured himself, but he's got a leg up. Nick Jones has now been in the system for a year. Those guys got a little bit of an edge on learning that playbook over these new faces like Joseph and Kamal Hadden.
Yeah, for sure. I think you saw that last season too when they brought in Lonnie Johnson, another former Kentucky cornerback that was, supposed to do big things in the NFL and just didn't quite work out. Kelvin Joseph kind of falls into that as well. But I think you saw that last season. We had him on the squad, Mike. He didn't even make the team. They cut him. And this was a guy that was supposedly going to be a good cornerback. I think it just goes to show you these guys that are already comfortable in the system, they have a leg up. So I think it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Kelvin Joseph and probably even our rookie Hadden to make the squad just because it's so packed. But I think they can definitely do it, though. I'm not counting them out.
Right. This was the funny part. They asked Dave Merritt about Jaden Hicks, and he said Hicks, and then he said Nicks. He called him Hicks, Nicks, Quick, Six, Dicks, you name it. He called them. Did
you throw a D in there?
He said, Dick is a real name. Dick Thomas, Dick Tracy, I don't know.
Dick Vitale.
Dick Vitale. He says, I call him all kinds of names. He's a prototype safety. He also compared Kamal Hadden to Bashad Breeland, which I thought was kind of a fun little comp. And honestly, if you could draft a Bashad Breeland, in round 6, that's a win.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, Bashad Breeland, obviously, after the fact, he's been nothing but a headache. After his football career, he's out of control. But on the field, Bashad Breeland contributed to one of our Super Bowls. He's a physical corner, a little handsy. It kind of got him sometimes with the holding calls and stuff. But Bashad Breeland was a pretty damn good corner, Mike. So for him to be comparing him to Bashad Breeland this early on, that's a good sign.
Right. Let's shift it over to the offense a little bit. Tom Melvin, tight end coach, was out there. They asked him about Jared Wiley. He said he's got a long way to go, but we're encouraged with where he's at and what he's doing. So they didn't really talk a lot to Melvin, but it sounds like Jared Wiley is getting acclimated. I think people that are expecting him to have a huge season may be a little disappointed. I think it's just harder. It's harder to step in and learn this, but I do believe that he's on the right track, and we're going to see a lot about him when we go on. They asked Andy Heck, he was on the mic today, asked him about the tackle position, and he said, I feel very good about the talent we have on this roster now to create good competition. Chew Godric has done very well this spring. Cheech and Chong out here when he's not getting high. He's looking good. He says, we're going to give a lot of guys looks. I feel good about the tackle depth here. It's wide open, Steve. He did say Kingsley probably had a little bit of a step up, and he also said Wanye was practicing today and was kicking down on the interior into the guard position, which we had kind of said that. Wanye could be that swing guy. Kingsley can do that too, so I think that there's a lot of really good, not just tackle depth, but I think offensive line depth in general.
Absolutely. The left tackle position, though, that's going to be an intriguing one, right? Everybody's kind of wondering how that's going to play out. A lot of people give the leg up to Wanye just because of the experience already and the fact that he got to start a couple of games last year when Donovan Smith was hurt. But I tend to think that this is Kingsley Suamataia's job to lose. They drafted this guy for a reason. Of course, they did trade up in the second round for him. I think he could have been drafted much earlier. A lot of teams had their eye on him. Very athletic kid. Like you said, very versatile. So I think he could definitely take that starting job. I'm excited to see how that one plays out.
Yep. Last but not least, Matt Nagy was on the mic. Nagy on the mic. They asked him about a fullback. They asked him about a fullback making the roster, and he said, it's to be determined. We're not against it. We've done it in the past. It's about special teams and the new kickoff rule, so he's mentioning that again, how you use these guys. He said this is a passing camp, basically. There's not a lot of fullback formations right now. So in other words, he's saying he's not getting a really good look at the fullback position. And we've talked about this. Will they take the fullback? Will they not? Will maybe Louis Rees-Zammit kind of take that role? Maybe they're looking more towards an H-back kind of thing. They also asked him about Nico Remigio. He said, I'm rooting for him. He's a great kid, and I think it could be a fun story. So Nagy, they're asking him about things that Kingdom's got their finger on the pulse. They want to know about Carson Steele, Nico. Kadarius Toney was not there again today. What is Kadarius Toney pulling out here? But they asked him about it. They didn't ask why he was not there, but they just asked him about it in general. And he said the biggest thing is making sure he understands the foundation mentally of where to line up. Buffalo.
Is he referring to the Buffalo game?
Maybe.
I didn't know this was such a big problem for him.
Right. He said, make the simple plays be simple. That's something that we've seen with Kadarius Toney. It looks like the smallest plays, he tries to just make them so difficult. But he did go on to say he's so talented. As coaches, we have to put him in the right spot. Steve, we've said that about a lot of things. Kadarius sometimes isn't in the right spot. A lot of times they don't use Sky Moore in the right spot. There's certain things that I feel like the offense gets a little pigeonholed in, and they don't properly use their weapons the right way, but they're acknowledging it. I think it's something, and I thought it was funny too with Spags versus Nags today. So Spags come out and said that the defense had an advantage. He said it was an offensive OTA referred to as passing camp, and then Nagy come out and said he feels that the defense has all the advantage because there's no running game. And those two are so competitive back and forth with each other, man. I thought they could just go at it at any moment. They talked about how competitive it was on the field because Spags said, you know, you got the yellow jersey on the QB and he's chirping, but it keeps it lively and it keeps it fun. So that was basically the gist of everything that happened today on the mic. Steve, any big takeaways out of all that?
Not really. I think my biggest takeaway is probably what we went with as the cover story for this video, and that is the fact that they're really leaning into that new special teams rules, trying to see how they can capitalize on that and give themselves a competitive advantage with that. I mean, you have to think, man, if you can put points up on the board or prevent points up on the board with that new kickoff rule, you already got a leg up on the competition. So I like that. I like they're ahead of the game on that. The other thing I would take away from today is just that the rookies are out there competing. Like people like Kamal Haddon. I know Kelvin Joseph's not a rookie, but like Dave Merritt said, kind of the same thing. There's a lot of guys out there competing for these positions. And the fact that you said it's super competitive, that's even better. Because we're already being competitive in OTAs, got them juices flowing, baby, got the little fire under their ass. Yeah. You got to love it, man. It's going to be fun in camp trying to see how these positions roll out.
I hear you.
Hear ye! It's time for Beyond the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Steve, it's time for Beyond the Kingdom. We're going to take some news stories from around the league. We're going to throw a little Chiefs spin on it, a little Chiefs perspective over here. First one of the day, Dolphins signed wide receiver Jalen Waddle to a 3-year, $84.75 million contract extension, Steve. And look, the next story goes right along with it. So I'm just going to throw it up too. Dolphins Tyreek Hill has been eyeing a new contract since the conclusion of 2023, per reports. Can you go ahead
and bring up the next story that says the Dolphins are freaking broke, bro?
Right. How are all these teams paying these receivers this much? Is Brett Veach ever going to pay a wide receiver ever again?
Absolutely
if these
not.
prices don't come down.
It's ridiculous. I feel like a lot of these teams are really hamstringing themselves and being competitive. You have to think, Mike, we've been talking about the Dolphins could potentially win the East this year. We thought that could be a thing. But if they continue to just beat themselves into the ground, paying guys way too much money for positions like that, they're not going to be competitive for long. Like, you have to think smarter. You have to think more long-term, just like Brett Veach is doing. He's not went out and jumped the gun on any kind of wide receiver. And look at the deal he got with Hollywood Brown.
What's up higher right now? Rent, food, gas, or wide receiver position in the NFL?
Rent and food. Groceries.
Good point.
Yeah.
Everything. Good job. Steve, the Jags, more news. We talked about McManus, but look at this. It come out that there was reports alcohol and marijuana was used on the Jaguars plane.
Was Rashee Rice, Chooch, and Chong on the plane?
I don't know, but if this is true, supposedly they were smoking weed and they were drinking on the plane over to wherever they went and played, London, wherever it was.
You know, it's a tough game.
Does this happen throughout the whole league and they're just getting exposed, or is this just a team problem? Because people say the Chiefs, we got a culture issue. They've got to check it out. There's this, and this. And it's like, well, half of those are non-stories. But by the way, it looks like everybody else has some skeletons in their closet too. They're just not coming to the forefront because they're not the Super Bowl champs back-to-back.
I wouldn't say this happens with every team, but I bet you a large percentage of them it does. Absolutely. And this one's just the one that come to light. Obviously, because of the Brandon McManus thing. Right.
Last story of the day outside the NFL, outside the kingdom, is we've got T. Higgins. He posted a cryptic IG photo amid the Bengals contract rumors. He said, I tell him no.
Dan, look, he's not going to play there, bro.
Look, after he's seen what Waddle got, even Jamar Chase had to make a comment about that. The Bengals, this could be some of the worst news the Bengals have got with seeing this big Waddle contract and all these wide receivers signing for big money. They've got a problem over there in Cincinnati. And look, they're too they pound their chest too much to admit it because, that's the delusional
they're in more trouble than you're letting on because Jamar Chase is already asking for his contract extension now.
Right.
And listen to this. He thinks he should get paid just as much as Justin Jefferson.
And now T. Higgins thinks he's...
Dude, I'm telling you, the Bengals, they missed their window. It's not going to be long before they're back to the pit. Buffalo's window is kind of closing on them.
Are they the Bungles again?
Pit. They might be pretty soon. I mean, they already have a quarterback that can't play more than one game a year because his wrist hurts. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It could be bad for them.
It doesn't always go like that. It goes first 2 or 3 games of the year, absolute
interception.
Yeah. Then the 4th through 7th game of the year, mediocre, and then injured for the rest of the season.
No, wait. You forgot the 2-week span where they talk about how he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Right. And then the choke right before the playoffs. Steve, that's been news from around the kingdom. Let's jump into another segment.
That time's yours.
Time's yours, Chiefs Kingdom. I threw out some polls. I like to do some polling. I love for people to give me their opinion, Steve. First one come off of our story yesterday, man. Should the Chiefs cut Isiah Bugs? It was just a simple
yes or no.
Can I
answer it first?
Before you answer it, do you like the click, sub, follow, ACU, get horned motto that I went with right there?
Gotta love the get horned, baby. Maybe you should have put that in all capitals. But you know what? Maybe. I think on this one you have to say, not yet. Not yet.
Right.
You can't just cut the man because of some allegations, right? We have to see what really happened. If he's guilty, then sure, why not?
Right. Well, let's see what the people voted. They said yes, 60-40.
Of course, they got to jump the gun, baby. That's what America does.
But if you go read the comment section, I'm about to pop it up. I think the majority of people are here. First guy, AWD, says, can we please go one effing week without a player making the news? I feel that. Okay. JR and Liz. Okay. Boy, it's hard reading those sometimes. If they are his dogs, then yes. If not, then no. Let the attorneys figure it out. And then lastly, Orion Guided said, if the allegations are true, yeah, that's cruelty beyond words. So it sounds like a lot of people are wanting it to wait to see, is this real or not?
Yeah, you have to.
I think logical people, you got to remember that 60-40 swaying in the vote is a lot of Chief haters, and they're going to get those votes in, right?
Mike, it could just be Tuscaloosa trying to get his business out. They're tired of the damn hookah lounge. They want him out of that, baby. They're just trying to smear the Bug's name, okay?
Don't smear the Bug, baby. Come on. We had another one. Which tight end other than Travis Kelce gains the most receiving yards in 2024 for the Chiefs, Steve? Gray, Wiley, Irv Smith, or Garrett Prince? What are you thinking? You're going Noah Gray?
Absolutely,
you think the Kingdom says Noah Gray?
No.
What's the Kingdom say?
Jared Wiley, because they're horned. Boom! I told you.
Jared Wiley, because they're horned.
They're all horned up, Mike. He's the new blood. He's the new guy, and everybody's excited for him. I'm excited for him, but I don't think his rookie year. Noah Gray is on a contract year. That Noah Gray's not going to fail on his contract year. And let me tell you, man, Noah Gray, if you have paid attention, when he gets his shots, when he has the ball in his hands, he's got a little bit of Kelce in him. He's been working with the guy for years now. So it's like, I want to see what Noah Gray can do this year. I think he'll get more opportunities now with the age in Kelce, and we'll see what Noah Gray can get done. But I have a lot of faith in Noah Gray. But I am excited for Jared Wiley. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I hear you. Here's what people are saying. 2 leader bowls says, I hate to break it to everyone, but Jared Wiley's barely going to play this year. That's possible. I mean, it is possible. Morgan Van Shiver says it's a contract year for Noah. We all know what that means.
That's where I'm at, man. Yeah.
Tom Brady deflates says none. What does none mean, bro? The question says, which tight end other than Travis Kelce gains the most receiving yards? He says
they're all going to get 0.
So everyone gets 0 yards out of Wiley, Smith, Gray, and Garrett Prince. Don't think he understood how to read or process a simple question. And then we've got this one. William Schock says, how about Dalton Kincaid, Steve?
Man, if you're going to pump up your own guy, can you at least spell his damn name right? I mean, come on. That's disrespected Dalton Kincaid because I think he's a good tight end. But you know what? He's over there in the miserable, failing and flailing Buffalo Bills. So we'll see how that goes for him. But you know what? He might be the main target this year. So who knows?
Dalton Kincaid don't even play for the Chiefs. Why would I put him on the frickin' list? Is this Brian Parrott in disguise? Where are you at, buddy? Come on, William. Come out and admit it. Come on. Like, why are you going to come on here and say dumb stuff like that? Moving on. We've got another one up. Which wide receiver from the Chiefs finishes the season with the most catches, Steve? Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Kadarius Toney. What do you think? Uh-oh. What are you doing?
Hollywood. I'm going Hollywood.
The people go Hollywood, 72%.
Look, I had to think about it, man, because I think Rashee Rice's role is going to expand this year, and I thought he looked pretty damn good last year. He's got a lot to come off of, but you have to think he's dealt with a lot of off-field stuff this off-season.
Yeah.
Sorry, too many offs there. But also, he could possibly get suspension. If that happens, that's less games. I think Hollywood's going to be the go-to this year. He's got the experience. Him and Mahomes seem to have a chemistry already. They're working together a lot. What I really love so far is I'm seeing Hollywood working with Rashee Rice. He's like, hey, look, we both like to race cars in our spare time, but you got to grow up, Rashee. Come here, get to work with me. Let's get better at football. Let's get our stuff together. So I don't know. I think Hollywood would be the man this year.
Yep, I think so too. Jay Brown says Rice easily. People who think he isn't playing this season should do some research on how the NFL operates.
I do agree with that.
So, yeah, that's pretty good. Doug says, wouldn't it be something if KT, since it is a contract year for him, and he suddenly stays healthy and catches the ball?
Man, you realize if Kadarius Toney could focus, bro, it would not surprise me if he could do something like that. I wouldn't
be sad if Kadarius Toney decided he wanted to figure it out. Like,
right.
Hello, figure it out.
Okay with that.
Yep. Last but not least, JR and Liz again makes it again. He says, Toney doesn't belong on this list. Justin Watson should have been the fourth wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue that. You can, but guess what? No offense, Justin Watson. If you're watching, I think you're a fine receiver. But it's just boring. It's so mid. Like, Kadarius Toney's at least got a little bit of drama surrounding him. Like,
right.
Hey, he could be a top receiver in the league if he could just get his head on straight. But he's like this dude that can't catch the football last season. So, it's intriguing for people. It's a better opinion to get, right?
Justin Watson. Kadarius Toney shouldn't be on the list? Well, he was. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? We didn't want to put Justin Watson on the list. Nobody wanted it.
Would you like to come on the show and be our list maker?
Would you like to be a list maker? Steve, that wraps up, time's yours. So I hope everybody appreciated that one. We got one more story here to talk about with the Chiefs today, and this is kind of a fun one, Steve. Travis Kelce expresses his desire to join Happy Gilmore 2's cast with
Who
Adam
doesn't
Sandler.
want to, Mike? I want to be in
Right.
Happy Gilmore 2.
It said during this week's episode of New Heights, he addressed a rumor, and he said, I didn't even know there was a job opening for Happy Gilmore 2, but if there is, I'll be freaking extra. I'll be a freaking extra. He said at the 10:46 mark, anything I can do to get around Happy Gilmore or an Adam Sandler film, he said, I'm in, Steve. I don't know how he's going to do it. He's got so much on his plate. Him and Taylor have apparently
Travis
started
Kelce
a family.
doesn't need to do it. He don't need to do it. Let me do it.
They've already started a family. Like, it was secretive.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the picture?
There it is.
Oh, that's nice.
Papa Kelce from 1969. Mama Swift. And look at baby Mahomes. Just look. Does that baby look like Sterling at all?
No, that baby's scaring me, actually.
That's really creeping me out. And I'm so glad Sterling got the looks of Brittany and not Patrick. Because we see what could have happened here. But
It's
Kelce,
funny
does he not look like every dad in America with this time frame of picture right there?
I'm pretty sure Pops had the same haircut. It was just curly.
Pops had
You
that
remember
weird
that?
stash too. Everybody had the
Yeah.
weird stash rocking, they're trying to bring back the single stash. It actually
El
came back for a while.
Travador.
El Travador. Had to use some El Travador.
But you mentioned that before you popped the picture up. I thought you were going to pop up that picture of Taylor Swift at her concert where everybody says she looks pregnant.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on Taylor Swift's body. I'm not going to body shame her. If she's not pregnant, be your life. But you know what? She looks good as a house mom from the 1960s. Looks like Butker had an influence over here.
Most definitely. It looks like Kelce and Taylor Swift were like, you know what, Butker? We're going to be Catholic too, baby. Let's do it.
Who missed the opportunity to make Butker the baby here? Like, this is how Butker grew up, right?
Who would have known if you just gave Taylor Swift that hairdo that she would be a Susie Homemaker?
She actually looks better there, I believe.
You think so?
About it. I mean,
what
she
do y'all
looks
think?
more normal.
Better blonde or better whatever that color is?
Whatever. The rookie, Steve, got out here and put out a nice photo shoot. What do you think about that one?
I thought it was kind of a cool, different photo shoot, right? Like, normally they'll get a picture with all the rookies together, but it's kind of standard. Like, at least it's, like, different. It kind of looks like they're a boy band, just with a lot of members. You know?
This is like one of those boy bands, it's got, like, way too many members. And then, like, Kamal Hadden is, like, has the flu. So he's super cold right now. He don't want to be there. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? I feel like Noah, or not Noah, I'm sorry.
CJ?
Yeah. I feel like CJ, he looks just out of place, right? And then Norzad over here on the edge just looks like the bodyguard that got in the picture.
I like his jersey, though. I do like that. Also, Jaden Hicks looks like he could be Kingsley's little brother in this picture.
Oh, yeah, he does. It's like a mini-me version.
Kind of like it. But, yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool picture.
Yep. Hey, man. Well, how you guys doing out there in the chat, guys? We appreciate you being here. We just we rolled with a live show. Going to show you guys how we like to do things. This is how we put together shows. Thought you guys would just come in and take a look at it.
Yeah, normally we mess up
questions.
Normally we mess up a lot more than that, and I have to edit more. But you know what? We did well today.
Look, you just got to come out. You got to get it done, and we do it this way sometimes because it's easier for people that tune in late, sifting through all of our BS back and forth. But we're here. We're going to be here for a little bit while, answering questions and everything, getting to the chat, the comments, and appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching with us. Hit that like button if you haven't. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. We will give you some great Chiefs content. But, yeah, man, what's going on? Johnson the Fam, he says if Hollywood has a breakout year, do the Chiefs extend him? Absolutely, in my opinion, unless he's trying to go for that $84.5 million that Jalen Waddle's trying to pull in.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But I do think he's worth more potentially than what they paid him, right? I think we got a really good deal on Hollywood. Mike, we were talking about getting Hollywood since last year. We were talking about maybe a trade for him last season. Then we were talking about getting him in the offseason before they actually did sign him. We said he was the most likely as far as free agent wide receivers go. But we had him pegged more around the $15 million mark, and that's kind of what I think the market value was for him too on SpotRack. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think we got a hell of a deal on him. But if he shows out this year, which I think he has a really good chance to, because he's in such a better position than he's ever been in. They could definitely try to extend him. Why wouldn't you?
He's going to be nasty, man. I think with Mahomes in this offense, it's going to be.
We got him for 1 year. If he excels, you drafted a guy that's basically like a mini-me version of him. Not necessarily you can get any smaller than Hollywood, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So why wouldn't you just mentor him, build that guy up, have him for a couple more years, and have two guys on the field with 4.2 blazing freaking speed? Why not?
Yeah, for sure. Denise says she still has hopes for Kadarius Toney. Denise,
I do too, deep down.
I hope you're right.
I don't have faith, I suppose, but I do have
hope.
Have
more hope than faith.
Yeah. Like, I do think that he has the ability to be a really, really good football player, a really good receiver. I mean, like, even when Gronk was critiquing him, Mike, and said he just don't know if he loves football, and that's why he can't, start correcting the little mistakes that are happening over and over again. He did admit that he runs routes like nobody else. He's super fast. Like, the guy's super athletic. So, I mean, everyone knows it. I think he could get it together. It's a very small chance, and I'm hoping he does.
Yep, 100%.
Oh, that was loud,
Enrique
baby.
in here with the one gifted membership. Enrique, what's going on, brother? Appreciate
What's up,
the
my
gifted.
man? Good
you
to
guys
see
get
you.
a gifted from Enrique. Give him a
hell
happy,
yeah.
Give him a hell yeah. How about that?
Let's go. I like it. Heck yeah, man. Enrique supporting the cause here. And as always, looking sexy in his nice little all chiefed up hoodie down there. Look at that. That instantly makes you like a couple points hotter on the 1 to 10 scale, correct?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Hey,
You just put that all chiefed up hoodie on and you go up a notch.
look, people get horned for the ACU hoodie, man. That's what's up. Gary asked, should the Chiefs go after left tackle David Bakhtiari from Green Bay? Yeah, he's had a couple bad leg injuries. I think he's had one, but the thing is like they were just rushing him back a little too quick. I don't think he got the proper surgery for it. He says he's healthy, but I think the Chiefs are just in the midst of a youth movement. I think if they go back to the free agent pool, they'll look at Donovan Smith. And that's where I think it stops there.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if they will, though. Like, they seem pretty confident in their young guys, so I don't think they'll even mess with it. To me, last year, when he was injured and Wanya had to play, I didn't see much of a drop-off at all between the two. So I don't see the point to go back, especially if you're thinking Kingsley Suamata'i is going to be better than Wanya Morris. Then why even mess with it? Mike, I want to bring a comment up here. We got our boy Garrett in the house, brother number 3.
Garrett, what's up, man?
He says Butker rules, baby. Butker rules.
Yeah, we can't have Butker taking cheap shots out there. Josh says we should get T. Higgins and suspend Rice. Hey, I'm not going to suspend Rice until the league does it. Like, I'm not going to self-impose anything unless they're like, hey, if you self-impose 2 games, we'll drop the whole suspension.
I'm also not breaking the bank and risking a dynasty, a long run, to get T. Higgins. That's wild.
Well, they're not trading T. Higgins to the Chiefs. Did people not understand the only reason they tagged T. Higgins was so he could not come to the Chiefs?
I understand that, but at this point, the way they're paying receivers, it don't even matter. If they would trade him, I don't want to pay him. Yeah.
But you're not. They're never dealing with Kansas City in a billion years.
No, absolutely not. They hate us.
The only time they would deal with us is if Joe Burrow injures himself again and we have the magical elixir that will heal him. Then they might be like, okay, let's work something out. But it's not going to happen.
Can we please have Patrick Mahomes, please? Just for one game. We want to know what it's like to have a good quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes needs to if he hawked a loogie in a cup and Joe Burrow drank it and got superpowers out of it, he should do it. I really think so. Jared, 2-month member, he says, I just used this because I could, LOL. Subscribe, guys. Don't be a slapnut. Yeah, subscribe. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Sub.allchiefedup.com. Get in here. That's
Jared,
a sub. You can also be
man.
a member.
Always supporting.
Yeah, appreciate it. Starts at $4.99. Also, Patreon, man. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Patreon.com/allchiefedups. Only $1 per month. And by the way, every single monthly, every member, every month, we're going to start giving away probably a signed jersey. And this month, we got a good one coming our way. It's getting customized right now, getting sent to us from Hall of Famer himself, Will Shields. Who doesn't want that?
It's going to be a good one, man. Hey, it's $12 freaking a year, man. You can't even buy 2 bags of Doritos with that.
Right.
And maybe Doritos, but not Funyuns. The Funyuns are gold now. You're not getting 2 Funyuns for under $12. And you could win a signed jersey every month. That's a hell of a deal.
Right. Lewis says, I was going to order the hoodie, but bought a Patrick Mahomes hoodie instead. You know what, Lewis? Patrick Mahomes don't need your money.
Maybe he bought the Patrick Mahomes hoodie on our store.
You're right. No, I'm never going to tell you not to buy anything you would like. But yeah, supporting the channel helps us go a long way. Appreciate it. Lewis, we understand. Lewis is here. He's always supporting anyway. Lewis, the ever optimist, Lewis. Brian Parrott says, do y'all think they figured out that OBJ sucks yet?
No, and PFF even had him ranked in the top 32 tackles in the league with not one Chiefs player on that list. So they still think that he's a better tackle than even Jawan Taylor.
What was that just ranking tackles?
Yeah.
Or was that ranking all linemen?
Tackles.
So just tackles. So they don't have look, Jawan Taylor gets a little bad rap, though, because of all that crap that Chris Collinsworth pulled. Because, technically, Jawan Taylor's pretty stout.
He's pretty solid. So. He's very solid. If it wasn't for them nitpicking him and just giving him penalties over and over again this year, off because of what you said, Collinsworth got bored on the first game of the year and had to point it out. It's the same stuff that Lane Johnson's been doing his whole career no one cared about, right? So I'm with you. I think Jawan Taylor is easily a top 32 tackle in the league, especially if you set that stuff aside.
100%. Shane, what's going on, man? He said, I said hit that like button.
Let's go,
I said,
baby.
hit it. Look,
Let's go, Shane.
if you haven't hit the like button yet, I'm going to give you 3 seconds, and I'm going to play something epic while you do it. Here we go. Hit the like button.
I don't know if that worked.
Final warning. I don't know what happens if you don't, but
The purge will commence.
the purge does.
Man. What you got going on, Mike?
Catching up with chat.
How's it going for you? You look like you're struggling just a bit. Do you want me
Catching
to
up
do
with
it?
chat. It's about 400 comments I'm trying to get through.
Well, I like this one. Space says best Chiefs podcast. Let's freaking go, baby. Appreciate that.
Let's go. Appreciate
Tell
it.
tell all your friends and family. Hear ye, hear ye. Subscribe
Hear ye.
to All Chiefed Up.
So, did you guys get to watch the press conferences today? Like, again, we don't get much access into these OTAs. We've only got 2 days of full whatever, so full access. And I actually thought it was kind of fun hearing the coaches talk about the players and some of the progression. Of course, the slapnuts in the room ask some of the dumbest questions ever. I don't know who
Right.
comes up with writing those things, but they're horrible. They're like,
They're
so
always bad.
does Kamal Haddon, does he wear like shoes that tie, or does he wear shoes that have Velcro straps? And we're like, nobody cares, bro. Ask a
Neither he
legit
wears
question.
Heelys. Get it right. Doug with the 2 bomb. He says, heard any Chiefs news lately? My God. Yes, we have, son. And it's always something about someone with a warrant or something like that. You know, you think at this point we're just trolling the Raiders?
People saying that. They're saying that the Raiders are so bad, their culture's so bad it's starting to rub off to everybody in the AFC West.
I don't think that's it. I think we're intentionally doing this stuff just to mock them.
Here's what I think.
Think so?
No, here's what I think. I think that when we went and won that Super Bowl in the Raiders' house, we embodied a curse of the Raiders and took it into the
Don't
offseason.
say that. Don't say that.
Not as a franchise, but as a it's almost like we were possessed.
Hold your tongue.
We were possessed in the locker room, Steve, and like the culture got in our system.
What
Look.
the hell?
Here's what I recommend. Everybody take a 2-week fast, poop it out. Get the demon out of you, okay? Just get it out of you and let's move
The
on.
demon out. Let's go.
Demon out. Let's go.
Appreciate the 2, Doug. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that. Shane says, with Andy Reid wanting to drive the passing game deep down the field this year, do you think it will open up the running game for number 10? How many yards plus touchdowns for Pacheco this year? Good question, Shane. I actually think that's a fair point. I think if they start stretching the field, especially if Mahomes hits on some of those deep balls, defenses have got, they got to scoot back a little bit, and they'll go into that cover 2 shell and all that. But if they focus so much on the speed of our receivers and having to deal with Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice underneath, it could be a big year for Pacheco, man. I mean, he runs hard. They're going to give him plenty of touches. So what do you think, Mike? What do you think end of the year? What are you be looking at like as far as yards and touchdowns? What do you think?
Well, they're planning on bringing back the high-powered offense and the deep ball. But will that pan out? You never know. If the teams start going back into that crazy shell and different things, they may have to play the run game. I think your line is now built to run the ball a little better, believe it or not, than last year. I think you're better at the run game. Pacheco looks pretty healthy. He looked healthy today. He looked fit. He looked fast. I'm going to say Pacheco gets to 1,000 yards this year.
I think he breaks 1,000 yards.
I'm
How
going to say
many
he breaks the
touchdowns?
1,000-yard marker this year.
6, 7. How many touchdowns is he going to get?
I'll go with 6 on the ground, a couple through the air, probably like 4 through the air.
You think they're
maybe.
going to finally get him involved in the passing game more? They started to at the end of last year.
I think so, because now that McKinnon's out of there, I think he becomes your best. I mean, is he better at catching the ball than Clyde out of the backfield? Probably not, but I mean, he's more dynamic with the ball in his hands once he does catch the ball. So get him in there.
Yep. We got a 2-bomb from our boy Garrett. He says, Demon Shell. That's exactly what happened. The Chiefs got so drunk after they won the Super Bowl at the Raiders' home stadium that they formed into the Demon Shell. They basically weren't there. They had left their bodies, and they've been encompassed. I think you're right, Mike. They got to fast. They got to poop that thing out. They got to do something.
That's what I'm saying. I think that just being in that stadium so long, multiple times a year.
Dude, they were probably so wild after winning the Super Bowl. They were probably like drunk, throwing beers at school buses and stuff. They were just
Look,
going nuts.
The whole team's out here partaking in the devil's lettuce, okay? So if you're having the lettuce, you're having the entree. There ain't no telling what they're doing out there. Get it out of you.
We got to exercise the demons.
Yeah,
Get back on
exercise,
track.
man. Tom says if Pacheco stays healthy, he's going for 1,000 yards. But he says he's got to play at least 15 games. I think Pacheco, will this be the year Pacheco can get through an entire season without missing a single game? Or is he
That's
just
gonna be
that back
tough,
that's
dude.
never doing it?
That's going to be tough for him. He runs so hard all the time, and he takes a lot of contact. I mean,
And what's funny is he don't really have a lot of carries.
I would be very surprised if he don't miss any time. Hopefully it's minimal, though. But I definitely think he's going to break that 1,000 yards, though, for real.
How many carries do you think Pacheco had last year off the top of your head?
Man, what kind of question's that? How many carries does the average running back even get?
Well, I'm just saying, like, do you
Let me
think
think. Let me think. Hold on. I always said I wanted them to give him 20 carries a game, which they don't do. I'd say average probably 10 to 12. So let me go with 180.
not too bad, 205.
Okay. I
So
started a
he
little
don't-
short.
He doesn't take a lot of wear and tear. Like, they do not run him, like, into the ground, in my opinion.
They don't Derrick Henry him, that's for sure.
Right. So it's the style, but at the same time, look, Derrick Henry, I know Derrick Henry's built a lot bigger and stronger, right? But I mean, he runs you can have the style. Let's just figure out how to, if it's not there, preserve your body a little bit, right? Like, you don't have
Right,
to beat
well-
people up to take a 2-inch gain unless it's fourth down.
A lot
or
of this
something,
is
right?
pending on how they're going to use the running backs this year, and we don't even know how the running back room is going to look at this point, because right now we're looking at RB1 Pacheco, RB2 Clyde. We don't really know how the rest of it's going to go. They could pick up somebody if someone gets cut, something like that.
Chief Kelce,
Who really knows?
Did you come up with 209 off the top of your head?
There's no way he just almost nailed that. What did you say? How many was it?
Well, PFF says 205, but I mean, I'm sure other places could possibly be a little off here or there.
I see. So he's saying he had a little bit more.
maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing. Like, is
Right,
he
but
guessing or?
Is Pacheco's production not pending on how they use the running backs? I mean, you have to think.
Yeah,
So Clyde is going to be in that Jerick McKinnon role. I'm almost positive of it. They're probably going to use him for a little change of pace, receiving out of the backfield, which is what he needs to be doing. It's what they should have been doing with him since day one.
yeah.
But I do think more so than Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire can take more carries. Like, he's younger. He's stronger. Like, I think that he could actually get more carries than McKinnon would. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how that all splits up. And like I said, if they get somebody else involved, whether it be Deneric Prince or Reese Zammit or whoever they decide to get in there, it really depends. But I do think that he can break the 1,000 yards for sure.
Right. The wild thing is that if you go back and look at Pacheco when he was coming out of Rutgers, he's really not running all that different than his style there in a way. Rutgers never attempted no more than 170, 175 carries for Rutgers, I think. Like, he
Yeah.
just never did it. So even with as minimal carries as he's getting now, he never even got close to that in his 3 years at Rutgers from 2019 to 2021. And then let me see. I'm looking at his elusive rating right now, a 24. So even with all his speed and stuff, he's still not elusive. Like, he's always been a guy that will try to just run you over. What does he have? He had missed tackles, 12 missed tackles forced. So he was 291st in all the NCAA in his senior year for missed tackles, just 12. So he does not make people miss. He almost just, he is what you get. Like, he's going to take his yardage and he's going to put his head down. And I mean, it works. It works for him. I love the running style. I just wish there was a way to do it and preserve your body somehow, because at, 5'10", 216, that's not the thickest frame.
Mike, that was a very, very good evaluation of all that, but I couldn't even think straight. I was just waiting for you to get done so I could talk about Lego out there with the glizzies on the grill. He gobbling up them glizzies, Lego. The glizzy gobbler. That's what he should change his name to. The glizzy gobbler. Let's do it.
I don't think he wants to change his name.
That's so funny. Man, I want to grill out. Sounds good, actually.
I don't. It's too much work.
It only costs about $200 to grill out one time now.
Cole says, how many TDs do you guys see LRZ scoring, including in the return game? I think he'll get lucky if he gets in the end zone once or twice.
I think you get lucky if he's on the squad, bro, and not the practice squad.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to make the actual team.
If he does make the team, I'm fairly confident they're going to use him for kick returning. So let's just say he does make the squad. To answer your question, one.
Could it be one of those things, though? You get him next to the goal line. You know, you get in the red zone. Maybe not even the red zone at the 20, but maybe you get him like the 10. Goal you start line. Doing these little option plays, these little things, you know, here and there. So I don't know. It's possible. Maybe if he does get on the team, maybe he could get some snaps inside of it. Maybe his vision and everything and what he's used to, maybe he could put up 4 or 5, 6. Who knows? I think Louis Rees-Zammit is one of those players, like, he has no football background. We have no football footage of him. We have no film to analyze, and we've yet to see him in full pads yet. So it's so hard to try to answer and gauge where he is and what he's going to do, because it's like, we're going to get a good look at Rees-Zammit here in about, a month and a half. You're going to know.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an uphill battle. We're all rooting for him, though, but he's got a lot to learn and a lot of work to do. So hopefully he can get it done, though. I saw in the comments somebody was asking real quick. Right. KT's 40 time from Doug. I think the last 40 time, I don't even think he ran one at the combine. He didn't even run the combine. I want to say that I saw where he had clocked somewhere, though, at a 4.3. Like, I want to say it was a high 4.3. I just can't remember when that was. But he's very fast.
It says Kadarius Toney clocked a 4.39 officially, a 39.5-inch vert, an 11-foot 4-inch broad jump, and a 6.88 cone drill, 3-cone drill at his Florida Pro Day.
That's pretty crazy, man.
So
I mean,
a 4.39
the dude's an athlete
Pro Day
for sure. There's so much speed on this team; it's unreal. Like, can you imagine if they can get Kadarius Toney in the right headspace and get that guy going, and you got him running a 4.3, Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy running a 4.2? Like, come on, dude, that's a lot.
Flip says LRZ signed that 3-year contract. Don't know how that unfolds. It's standard, weird, I'm pretty sure, for international, because we signed Chew Godric, I want to say, for the same 3 years something. I think it's pretty standard. It's pretty much the same across the board. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it seems like that's the way it is, because a lot of people are like, man, they must really like him because he's on the 3-year whatever. And then I went and looked, and Chew had the same thing. And now what is weird, they already dubbed Chew the international player. So LRZ does not have a protected spot. Like, he will have to go practice squad and be poached, or he'll have to make the team. So I am kind of curious how they'll handle that situation, because if he does show any flashes, he did have teams looking at him other than the Chiefs, right?
I imagine so. I mean, I think mostly people were just intrigued by his pure speed, athleticism, right? If you can clock 24 miles an hour on your feet, there's going to be sports teams looking at you, regardless of what kind of skill set you have in that particular sport. They're going to see if they can make it work. Mike, just because I was completely intrigued, I guess, I wanted to go look and see, what do you think Kadarius Toney's RAS score was? Just if you had to guess off the top of your head, since we were talking about him running the 4.39.
Well, do they have all of it updated, or do they got a bunch of incompletes?
It's all there. And this was obviously back when he was in the draft.
To me, he's with a 6.88 3-cone with a 40-inch vert with a 4.39. Now, he is going to take some, I think he'll take a bit of a hit on his size. That may be in the red, oranges. I'm going to guess probably I'd say he's in the 9s. I'll say like a 9.7-ish. 9.6-ish, somewhere in that range.
Not quite. And see, I actually thought that he was going to be in the high 9s. He was just a flat 9.
So it's 9 across the board, huh?
He was elite in vertical, elite in broad, elite in 40-yard dash, 20-yard split, 10-yard split, poor in height, weight, and bench press.
Knew that was coming.
And then, of course, he was just good in the shuttle and the 3-cone. So he was a 9. So I was just kind of wondering about that.
Do you really? I mean, how vital is a bench press to a wide receiver?
Not really.
At the end of the day, it's not. Like, you may need it.
You have to think if you're using that if you're using that motion and running a route, you're getting a penalty called. So who cares?
Right. You don't really need that. Some of that's weird.
Now, Jamar Chase, on the other hand, his bench press matters.
His bench, he's probably throwing up, 1,000 pounds? The way he pushes off,
he'll throw you across the field, bro.
It's an elite level push off from Jamar Chase. And somehow officials are like, what? Didn't see it. Never see it.
Right. Ray says, Mike and Steve, if Marv Levy and Jim Kelly can go to 4 straight Super Bowls and lose them all, why can't Andy Reid and Mahomes go to 3 straight and win them? Reid and Mahomes is a better duo. I don't know if you were the one that brought up the question yesterday. We had a question yesterday about Marv Levy and Jim Kelly. But no, I mean, that's a fair question. I think, yeah, I mean, if they can go there and lose 4 straight, I mean, I think Mahomes and Reid can definitely go win 3. Like, obviously it hasn't been done before. And then you heard Tom Brady talking about it the other day. If you haven't watched that video we did where we were talking about that, you can go back and watch it. But Tom Brady was talking about how he thinks the Chiefs could do it, but it's going to be next to impossible. Like, the chances are razor thin. I still think that you make a fair point here. I think the Chiefs have a good chance.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. Back in the 90s when that happened, though, there wasn't a heck of a whole lot of good competition for what the Bills had built. The Chiefs should have took them down a few times. Should have actually made a little further playoff pushes than they did a few times.
Well, I mean, the Bills were pretty stacked up, though, offensively.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're pretty stacked, but look at it now. Like, think about stacked teams. The AFC has got so many stacked teams in comparison to what the 90s Bills had to face.
Right, well, here's the problem. Like, back in the day, like, Jim Kelly was just beating these teams. They were doing it with a high-flying offense. They were doing the no-huddle. A lot of teams hadn't done that yet. So it was like a new thing. Teams were trying to adjust. Nowadays, you have Patrick Mahomes out here whooping everybody's ass, and what do? They go throw money at it. They're like, hey, let's build super teams. Anything we can do to try to take this guy down. That's what the AFC has been doing lately.
Yeah, well, the NFC's starting to get in on it, too, with Jared Goff and all these guys. So we'll see. Yeah. Gary says, do you worry that Worthy can stay healthy? Yeah, Worthy missed today. Again, he's out with the same hamstring injury. But the thing about it is, and look, everybody on Chiefs Twitter, every talking head, they've got like this memo that goes around on every answer. Like, I think somebody just says it and then like it just echoes. Everybody says the same thing. For sure. So, yeah, somebody said, well, there's no need to rush him back because it doesn't matter. We got to save him for this. But isn't that almost the same sentiment everybody had with Kadarius Toney? We don't have to be that. Just let him be healthy for the playoffs. Then he's a healthy scratch. It's like you can't keep covering it up. I'm giving him a pass because I really do not believe it's a big deal at this point. But if we start getting into training camp and the part of the season and you're still dealing with this and he can't get over it and there's just a lagging thing, I'm going to start thinking more John Ross. You know what I mean? Because that's exactly what happened with John Ross.
You can't go to that extreme.
I'm not going there. I'm just saying there's that possibility. I don't think you can throw that out just yet. He's got to prove you wrong. In a sense, right?
Right. But the thing about it is, man, my main concern is him missing a lot of camp in his rookie season. Like, you see how that can affect a young player. Look at Felix last year. He missed a little bit. He wasn't the greatest. He wasn't ready to go.
Felix didn't get to do any of this OTA session last year. Look how he struggled.
Right. So I definitely want to see him out there and getting the work in because it's vital for a young receiver, especially in Andy Reid's offense, for him to be out there participating. So hopefully it's not going to be a big deal, Gary Holland.
Yeah, let's hope not. Doug says Spags is going to use the crap out of Jaden Hicks. What a steal. One of my favorite players we drafted. Yeah, for sure. I think Jaden Hicks is going to have his hands full this year. I think he's going to get just as much as Chamari Connor had thrown at him last year. Chamari was good when he was on the field. He was one of the highest rated DBs we had in the playoffs. I think Chamari's stuff's going to just get ramped up even more this year with the loss of Sneed. And I think when Chamari has to come down and play a little, nickel corner, a little slot corner, I think you're going to get Jaden Hicks stepping in up top. I really do believe Deion Bush is probably on the outs. The more I'm watching how camp's going and who's getting the reps, and I know we're still not even to whatever. So there could still be like injuries, things like that. Like you never can like throw out stuff like that. But Deion Bush in a way, good player, solid player, good special teams guy. But I feel like you can't just like, are you going to take a chance on putting Hicks on the practice squad or cutting him just because
Absolutely
Deion
not.
Bush is a little bit better special teams
Not a
player?
chance. Not
exactly.
a chance.
Nobody's doing that. So
The ceiling is just in different stratospheres on those two players.
yeah.
I mean, that's definitely something that's not going to happen. I saw something up here I wanted to click on. Where'd it go? Oh, check this out. It was about time. He said, ACU just joined the Patreon, ready to win me a jersey. Let's freaking go.
About time's
time.
on a streak. Y'all
He
got
is
to
on a
prevent
streak.
the streak here. You better prevent
Mike,
the streak.
You got to be shipping him out some kind of little mystery gift just for nailing a question yesterday after he already won a pair of the Nike Pegasus Chiefs shoes.
Right. He's on a roll.
He is. But
I
hey,
haven't
you
decided
guys,
what I'm sending out yet, by
Hey.
the way.
all you guys could be winning stuff too. Just go to Patreon, sign up for $1 freaking. You can win a signed jersey. I kind of want the Will Shield signed jersey. Mike, it would look good over on my wall.
Well,
Do I
join
need to,
Patreon.
can I go join my own Patreon?
Look, have
Hashtag rigged.
have Tasia join it. Maybe she's got a shot to win. Samuel says Nate Taylor says Nico is the wide receiver to watch in camp this time around. Look, Nico was, well, people kind of threw him off last year, but if you remember, Steve, I said Nico was a dark horse. So I was on the Nico boat last year, and then he really did start putting it together. I would say he's a good wide receiver to watch. Where does he fit in? I don't know. If we don't take 7, Nico's probably not on this team unless Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore just does something crazy and gets cut.
Right. Well, here's the thing. If there was a slap nut fence, Nate Taylor would be sitting right on that bad boy, like tilting one way or the other. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what he says, it's kind of whatever. But Nico Remigio, like me and you saw with our own eyes, Mike him at camp before he got hurt, he's a good player. Like you can look at all the, the athleticism, the scores, RAS score and all that, and it doesn't tell the story. Watch his tape. He's an electric football player. He makes plays, and he was doing it in camp last year. So I do think if Nico Remigio stays healthy and comes into this camp even close to what he was doing last year, he's definitely going to be in the conversation. But it's going to be tough for some of those guys like Nico to make the squad because we have a lot of good receivers right now.
Yeah, this wide receiver room's a lot better than last year.
Completely different.
But look,
Completely
here's what
different.
I'm going to say. We all said last year there was times when we all had the DeAndre Hopkins conversation. We all wanted the veteran. Well, you kind of got that this year a little bit with Hollywood. But still, I don't think Hollywood is what DeAndre Hopkins would have actually brought you in a way either. Because DeAndre Hopkins was a totally different wide receiver.
Correct.
Right? And his accolades are a lot better than Hollywood at this point in his career. Hollywood just fits the scheme more. He's the more Tyreek Hill-esque. He's the more Andy Reid kind of guy. So it makes sense they grabbed him over the DeAndre Hopkins. And, of course, the age gap there. But we thought last year, how many people were completely sold on Richie James? I remember our chat was full of everybody saying Richie James was going to be a difference maker. Just everything under the sun was Richie James, and he just had a monumental failure season last year here. And there was a little bit of injury that went into it, but he felt like he was a receiver that should have fit into this offense, and he just couldn't do it. So
It's not
that
even
kind of
that,
scares
man.
you a little
It's-
bit.
A lot of it's utilization. And you talked about that earlier. You touched on it with Kadarius Toney
Right.
and Sky Moore and all those guys. Like, there's certain ways you could use these kids and them actually probably put up a lot of stats, right? I think the same thing with Richie James last year. Sorry. Like, I think if they could have used him primarily in the slot and just peppered him a little bit, he probably could have had another big season like he did with New York. But you can't do that with every receiver, and especially
Right.
in Andy Reid's offense, he expects these guys to be completely versatile and to do a lot of different things. And that's why you can't just have a guy that has a specific skill set coming in and excel.
Right. This is kind of what I was going to say is we have tons and tons of slot receivers. And to make any of these guys effective, they need to be playing all their snaps in the slot.
But one, all they do is draft and sign slot receivers.
Right. And it's so strange because think about it.
Yeah.
Julian Edelman, let's just say Julian Edelman. Let's just say the Patriots had all Julian Edelmans, and they were all the same talent. But the only one that was going to make a mark on that team was the Julian Edelman that got to be in the slot in the slot, they got peppered
Right. Dude,
97
we have
targets
so
a year.
so many guys on this team. I can just start telling you right now, just off the top of my head, if they were used strictly for the slot and they were used like that and peppered the ball, they would all put up great stats. That's Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Justin Ross could even do it. Rashee Rice doing that could be ridiculous. I mean, Justin Watson could kill it in that role. Like, there's so many different. Richie James was one. Nico, if he made the squad, there's so many guys that could excel there. Yeah, but we just don't play. We don't do that way.
Justin Ross, if there's a chance he can make this team, he's got to be a big slot receiver. And when I say that, think back to Marquez Colston of the Saints. A big guy that played the slot, and they would pepper him with balls over the middle of the field. Why? Because he didn't have great long separation speed. You've got to get on linebackers, defensive ends, safeties. You've got to create matchups. And Justin Ross is that because he don't have that long speed. But that's where I think he's got to go. And I don't know. We just got so much stuff to look at with camp coming.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Pop says he thinks pushing the ball down the field more will open up the screenplays for Sky Moore. I agree with that, Pops. I was actually thinking about that the other day when we were talking about the Chiefs pushing the ball more down the field. Do you think that Andy knows he has guys that will excel in these types of roles? Like, we've talked about Sky Moore. If you just give him a lot of screen passes, he makes people miss. He's very, very quick and fast in small spaces. He's a yak guy. We've talked about that, and they haven't been able to use him that way. If they can stretch the field out more, and then you still have to account for Kelce, Rashee Rice underneath, do you think that's where some of these guys could come into play? Like, that's where Sky Moore can get the ball on the screen and just tear people apart.
I mean, it's possible, but this applies to a lot of players. This applies to Kadarius Toney. This applies to all of our receivers in a way. I think last year when we wasn't able to push the ball down the field because really MVS was just a giant walking turd. Like, he could not be effective at anything because he could not catch the football.
There was no threat of moving the ball in chunks last year. Like, no one respected our deep pass game or even our mid pass game. So, like, even if you tried to use these guys on screen passes last year, they were getting blown up because no one had to respect anything else.
Right, and when you didn't have to respect that, all these guys underneath did not have a chance to display
I think that's
themselves.
the point that Pops is trying to make here.
So did Sky Moore essentially with a breakout season last year? Kadarius Toney was supposed to be the number one guy. Of course, it kind of failed apart early. The wheels came off of that one. Did they effectively kind of lose a full season in this offense because the offense was not – they did not have the pieces around them to make them effective?
I honestly think last year was kind of a waste for a lot of different guys, and our wide receiver room was awful. And the thing about it is, Mike, now that you have people that can actually garner some attention, like Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, I think it's going to make it a little bit easier for these guys to get involved.
Right. Karth makes a point. They really didn't want to put James in at wide receiver last year. There was there was too many wide receivers on this roster. They were trying to appease to get all the snaps, but at the same time, they were giving MVS up to like week 8. He was getting 80 snaps a game out of like 90 on the offense. He was getting like 99% of the snaps, and it just couldn't happen. You can't have a guy out there that's that ineffective taking so many snaps. Tristan says, what do I think about Louis Rees-Zammit? I like him. I like his attitude. I like everything. He's got a long way to go. It's a big uphill battle to make this team, but I mean, I'm rooting for him.
Super intriguing story too, man.
Right. Keep looking up. How do we sign up for Patreon? It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Just go over to patreon.com. It's patreon.com/allchiefedup. It's $1, and I'm pretty sure I've never really signed up for it, but I'm pretty sure you just, what do you do, Steve?
Here's
you just
the thing.
click it?
Yeah, but at the same time, there is a free membership. Don't do that one. If you sign up for a free membership, you don't get any of the videos. You don't get nothing.
Why do they offer the free membership? What's the point?
I don't know. But yeah, you want to sign up for the $1 a month. That way you'll get all the content and you'll be eligible for the signed jersey giveaways.
Yeah, the $1 a month is the way to go because look, if you sign up for it's $12 a year, you can literally go for almost 10 years. That'd be $120, and if you ever hit a signed jersey, it's worth more than $120. So one jersey you win out of all that could take care of it. So
hey, can't beat it.
Yeah, you can't do it. Joe says who's going to be holding for field goals? Carson Wentz, maybe. Usually backup QBs do it.
Well, I don't know. Tommy always did it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it could be Matt Ariza.
Maybe Ariza, maybe Rick Howe can do it. Not for sure.
We'll see. It could be any of those guys, really. I heard Carson Wentz was tearing it up in the OTAs. People was talking about him throwing laser beams out there.
Carson Wentz has looked good.
I think people forget that before Carson Wentz got hurt, that he had the Eagles at 13-3. And then they won the Super Bowl that year with Nick Foles after he went out hurt.
Yeah.
Like Carson Wentz at one point was a high draft pick, projected to be a really good quarterback. I think it's an awesome backup to have, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Love it. We were calling for that a few years ago. Doug says Veach still has great things to say about Kadarius Toney. They all do. They look. I think if Kadarius Toney can come out and basically call the entire team a bunch of liars, and they're still sticking with him, like either he's got some naked pictures of Brett Veach with a ball gag, or he's got something on him, or else they just truly believe it.
No,
and I believe
I'm with Doug. I think they know something that we don't. Not necessarily. I think a lot of us kind of know what you have with KT and Sky Moore, but there's a lot of Chiefs Kingdom that's just so caught up in the production, and they're so caught up when Dave Toub kind of like smeared Sky Moore's name with trying to make him return punts. But
right.
like I think that a lot of people know how good these two could be and what they offer, and I think Andy sees it daily. It's not just us being like, well, here's what they did in college and here's what they could do. Andy sees it every day, man.
Did you know that in this past camp, right, Sky Moore has caught several touchdown passes. They're starting to use him more in the red zone. It's not been common knowledge.
He'd be a good weapon.
People aren't really reporting about it because Sky Moore's not the sexy one to report about at the time.
Yeah.
But I think they all know. But again, he's got to prove it on the field. Like you can't be a OTA warrior or a camp warrior every year, because last year Sky looked good in camp. His rookie year he looked good in camp, and then it just never pans. He's got to figure it out. Wolfgang says Legion of 2.0 or Legion of Zoom 2.0.
I like what you're trying to do with it, but I don't know if there's a ring to it. Legion of Tomb.
2.0.
I love it. But no, they're definitely trying to get back to that speed stuff. Hey, Kyle says Mike's camera looking like a 70s UHF channel.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been a little fuzzy. It kind of reminds me when you're a kid.
It's my internet, more than likely.
Yeah, probably. Just a bad connection, but it kind of reminds me.
Sorry, HT Chiefs fans. Send me a nice camera and I'll use it.
Yeah.
They're only about $500 or $600. You can go ahead and throw me one out and I'll take
Mike,
it.
That's being cheap there.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to be nice.
No, but
I think a lot of it's my internet, though. To be
what
honest.
it reminds me of, though, if I could finish my thought, is when you're a kid, and you're trying to see a titty.
Oh, you're trying to get that blur?
So you'd be on like channel whatever Cinemax was, but your parents didn't pay for it, but you could go to it at night and it was Skinemax. So you would turn it there and it'd be fuzzy. But every once in a while, when the little lines went down, you'd catch a nipple or something. And then you would always keep the previous channel button available with like a cartoon or something on it. That way, if somebody walked in, you hit the previous button and it would go back to, whatever you were watching. Everyone did this in the 90s, right? Or was
Shut up. What? I said shut up.
Quit.
Sam Lofton says this show has become a walking send us money show. Is that right? Well, what the hell are you going to do about it, Sam Lofton?
Ooh.
If you don't like it, then don't watch. That's all there is to it. But yeah, we don't like working for free all the time. So yeah, sometimes we'll be like, hey, throw us a bone. I wanted to play the long version. But
You could play the long one. You can go back. You can play the long one again.
I think that Sam Lofton's turned into a walking, let me have everything for free in life kind of guy.
Yeah. Sam doesn't like it that we talk about things other than football sometimes.
It's okay. He'll be okay tomorrow.
We'll be okay.
Sleep it off, Sam. Sleep it off.
Yeah, chill out. Like it's all voluntary. If you don't want to sign up to Patreon, don't do it. If you don't want to be a member, don't do it. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Man, some people just don't get it, do they?
No.
Not a clue. Not a clue, Sammy.
I'm gonna see how. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
Gary Holland remembers the Skinemax, bro.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what's
not the
up.
only one.
Steve says, Sam, that was uncalled for. It was uncalled for. You know what?
Yeah.
You're right, Steve. Because why? Oh, I'm sorry. Just a YouTube channel out here trying to make it. Yeah. I don't know.
Sam said he's just joking. Yeah. We got a 2-bomb from Justin Flanders. Man, did we coax Justin Flanders into sending us $2 just now?
Do we? Justin, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, he's always supporting. Appreciate it, my man. Man, so the Isiah Bugs thing, real quick. I saw somebody bring that up.
No
kind of updates of anything on that. I don't even think the Chiefs really care at this point. Do you think Bugs is even going to make the roster? They might just cut him for fun at this point.
I don't even really know why they picked him up. Like, they picked him up in the playoffs. He
It
never
was
even
for depth
sniffed the
purposes,
roster.
right? I mean, it had to be.
I mean, yeah, I guess so, but well, they put him on like a futures thing and all that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they could. Honestly, at this point, they could just let it go and not even worry with it, and it wouldn't really be a big deal, right? I mean, what are you losing?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, to be honest.
He hasn't even played a snap for the team. So, what are you going to do?
John Clifford with a 5. He says, from Homer, the Flanders neighbor.
That's awesome. Appreciate the 5, John.
Appreciate
Good to see you, my man. Ethan Bennington, we're having a good day.
That's why I was trying to click.
We're having
What's
a good
up,
day.
Ethan? I talked to Ethan today in the presser. He asked who's your favorite Chiefs player on the roster. I told him, man, there's so many to choose from. But, I mean, you can't go against Mahomes because I didn't think in my lifetime I'd ever see a Super Bowl, and now we're at 3 and counting with Mahomes. So, I mean, I got to go with Mahomes, man.
I missed that. I don't even know what you were talking about, but it's a good day to have a good day, Ethan.
What are you talking about?
I was talking about the comment that was on the screen.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. You're talking about Mahomes and Super Bowls and stuff. I lost you.
I just told you, if you'd pay attention, I was talking to Ethan at the Chiefs presser today, and he asked that question.
Okay, I missed that part. See, that's why I was lost. That's all you had
up.
to tell me. Dang, man, it's been a long day. Been up working all day.
HD, I can't afford the camera, but hopefully this will pay for some rabbit ears.
Yeah, we got to do something about that internet connection today.
Well, my internet says it's fine. So I don't know. Like, I'm not getting any bars or anything on here saying my internet's bad, but there's really nothing else it could be. Like,
It's
again,
okay.
it's focusing, so I don't know.
It's all good. Sorry, not Sam. Kyle's getting you some rabbit ears for your internet. I'll help pull that signal in, baby.
Could work. Could also be because our town got smashed with a tornado, so like half of our trees are down, our electric's out.
Most of
throughout
them,
the town,
don't even have any type of electricity, do they?
No,
A lot of
a lot
people
of
have
it's
that.
still out. So yeah, there could be something just going on with it. Space with a 2-bomb. KT has no hands.
Let's go.
Yeah, his hands are minimal.
Man, it's crazy though, because I've said this before, but like Kadarius Toney was never known as a guy that dropped the ball. He didn't drop the ball at all in Florida. He didn't really drop passes in New York. He didn't drop passes his first year with the Chiefs when he played that back half of the season. I don't know what the hell happened to him last year. Like at this point, if he continues to do it, then it's like he's lost his mind. Maybe he don't have hands, but I kind of think maybe I keep saying it, but I think he was going through something like the yips or something, almost like with a golfer where you just get in your own head. Like, I think if he just gets back to the basics, clears his mind out a little bit, and like Gronk said, make sure that you secure the ball and tuck it. Focus on that first. I think he'll be okay.
Tuck it.
Appreciate the 2, though, Space.
Oh, jeez.
Tuck it up.
Somebody got banned from the chat, so I'm trying to get them back in here. It was an accident.
Who got banned?
I think.
Who went to the pit?
Gary asked. He said, hey, Justin Flanders can put him back in chat. So I think Flanders got banned somehow by accident.
He said, here's $2 to support your cause, and they put him in the pit.
Well, I'm going to look. I don't know. I don't see him so far.
It's a long list, so good luck with that. Wolfgang says, I'm just ready for some good old heart-racing KC football. I just can't wait to see this offense. Man, no matter how good the Chiefs offense gets, they still have a way of always making you nervous every game. Like even back in the day, the game that you like to mention because I got sick and I couldn't go to, but like the playoff game with the Texans, they couldn't just go out and beat the living hell out of them like they did at first. They had to freaking, get down by 24 points first to make it interesting. They always have to have you on edge. They have to. I think that they're actually in cahoots with blood pressure medication manufacturers is what it is. So, they play that style of football. It becomes a problem for the fan base. They have to buy the medication. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, true. I don't see Flanders in here. You sure he got banned by accident?
I don't know. We'll dig into it. We'll make sure he's okay, though. Patrick Velasquez with 10 bomb. Appreciate you, my man. He says you guys deserve all the monies. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we don't really ask for money. Like, hey, give us money. But no, we're always cool with people supporting the channel. And, of course, we try to sell things and have memberships and things like that. It's how we keep going. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to put the time in.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Yes,
Flanders
ma'am.
isn't in there. So unless I'm overlooking him, sorry. He'll be okay. We'll keep investigating throughout the night. But
If you're
yeah,
still
appreciate
here,
you, Patrick.
Justin, put something in the chat. That way we'll know you're not in the pit.
Right. Alfredo says, do you think the Chiefs will move stadiums? I mean, I'm going to say no, probably not, but
Yeah, I
you
mean,
never know.
it's so far in the future too. I'd say it would be 2030 something before they would even have to actually move. I don't know. I don't think Missouri did themselves any favors, but I think they
Yeah,
are going to try to
agreed.
I think they are going to try to do a reproposal separate from the Royals, so that might help.
True. Another 5 bomb from Patrick. He says,
Let's go,
I
Patrick.
can never seem to catch your live streams, but always love to support when I do.
Man,
Yeah, like
it's tough to
they don't
do
like to throw
sometimes.
out notifications for lives, we've noticed.
We do get that complaint a lot.
But yeah, so it's usually, I mean, we usually do it on Wednesday nights, and sometimes they fluctuate, but we've got some stuff going on behind the scenes where they should start being more universal, like later in the evening. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Just be on the lookout for it. You can always click it if you go onto YouTube, because people say they don't get notifications, but YouTube tells us that over like 10,000, 15,000 people a month click on our content from notifications. So unless they're just lying, some people out there are getting notifications. So if you're not getting them, it's possible that you don't have notifications on your phone. Like you have to allow, like for example, an iPhone.
Yeah, that
you got to
happens
go
to some
allow
people.
YouTube to send you a notification. So that might be the same way on Samsung. I'm not for sure, but there's that option. And then always, if you get on YouTube and you click the little button at the bottom that says subscriptions, if you're subscribed to us and you click it, you can go straight to our channel and click it and just see. It takes like 2 seconds and you'll see if we're live or not. It'll tell you.
Right. And then on our end of it, we got to do a little better about posting earlier when we're having a live stream. But, and we are going to be able to do that now. Like I said, we've made a couple tweaks on the, behind the scenes to where our schedules should allow us to do more content and stuff. So, like, it's been very, very hectic for the last, say, 6 months just trying to even do content at all. But now that we should have a little more freedom, we'll be able to post it earlier. That way we'll get a chance of seeing it.
Dude, it's been a long time because last year, right in the middle of our season, YouTube pulled their YouTube.
Man,
So that
it's
was
been
3
tough,
months of the
bro.
season, and then we didn't get it back till January. So it's literally been about 8 straight months of just chaos. So
Yeah,
hopefully
grinding. That's all. That's
it'll
what we're
simmer
doing.
down a little bit for real.
for
Sydney says, "Love your show. Hope you guys can do it full time soon." We're on track. We'll
We'll get there.
Yeah. Did you guys see how excited San Antonio was when the Chiefs bus was in town? I
didn't
missed
see it.
that. I didn't get to see it. It's funny though. Ethan says, if you were to sign a wide receiver for Rice's possible incoming suspension, who would it be? I don't think I would. I would just let it ride out. I'd let the younger guys get some work in. I mean, I'm under the impression I don't think it's going to be 8 weeks. I don't honestly think it's going to be 6 weeks. I think it's
I
going to be
feel like
closer to
we-
the 2 to 4.
I feel like we already have an issue with who's going to make the squad because I think Andy takes 6 at most, and it's like who. I mean, you don't even know now who could be on the squad because there's going to be a battle. So I don't think they'll muddy the waters anymore.
Yep. Patrick. Yep. Schedules, man. Schedules suck. He says I always go back and listen. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, that's why we try to do it. That's exactly today why we try to go back and do it more like a video. Because a lot of people that come in and want to listen, they don't want to go through 30 minutes of fluff before we get through it. So every once in a while we'll do an episode like this just to see if that's what people prefer and stuff. So, and plus it's fun to have some segments here and there, right? Who didn't want Time's Yours? Who didn't want to
Well,
hear ye.
You also have to keep yourself on your toes. You know, if you do the show live sometimes, you can't be screwing up in editing. You just got to go, baby.
Oh, yeah, just do it. Knock it out. But, yeah, man, we appreciate you guys being here for real. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got to bail out. Mike decided that I'm going to help a friend out tonight, and I'm going to pick up a job for him. They had some bad news in the family, so I'm going to help them out, put in a good deed for the day, so that means I'm going to have to jump off here. But appreciate you guys being here, man. And I'm looking forward, Steve, to a time where we have more football content to cover rather than just, a few guys answering questions.
Right. But I mean, it's coming, man. As soon as camp kicks off, we're going to have plenty to cover. It's going to be fun. But yeah, like Mike said, appreciate you guys being here. Please do us a favor and hit that like button on your way out if you haven't hit it already. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, because it does say there's a lot of watchers that aren't subscribed yet. If for some reason you haven't yet, please do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to break that 30K barrier.
We're close to 30K.
Yeah, which is amazing. So that's awesome. Appreciate all your support, all the donos, all the gifted memberships, everything that you guys do. Appreciate that. And yeah, we'll have more content coming for you. Mike released a short right before we went live, so go watch that bad boy. And if you didn't get to catch our video yesterday, go catch that. And we'll see you next time.
Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.